Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. Recently I did a little video talking about my recent acquisition, the Hanuman Chalisa, translated by Vikram Seth, a book I knew nothing about and still don't really know much about. It's a very short little thing. I forget what it was, 86 lines or 43 couplets, something like that. And I enjoyed it. Vikram Seth is a very good translator, I think. Well, I don't know how accurate he is when he translates things, such as his poems from the Chinese, but his translations are very readable, and the prosody which he puts into them tends to be impeccable. So it's a very smooth reading experience that you'll get from Vikram Seth when he is writing poetry. I've never tried anything by him that was prose. I believe he's done some novels. But this video, surprisingly, has gotten more views than I would have ever expected. Obviously, people know the book. They know Seth. Well, I enjoyed the book, but I am not to the point where I want to hunt down literary criticism about the work. But somebody said, I think it was in one of the comments to this, oh, you should read the Bhagavad Gita. And I actually have read the Bhagavad Gita long time ago. And that just led me to thinking, well, maybe I should just yank out all of my old Hindu books, my old books pertaining to Hinduism, my collection, as it were. Now, I have other stray books that have come and gone, but this is the bulk of my collection. This is the important set. And first I will show you the books I have read, but as I say, long ago. Now, I hold on to these books and they are dear to me. They reflect a time in my life when I was looking for perhaps a spiritual awakening. At any rate, systems of spirituality were much before my ken as a topic of interest. And I fell in with, and I say fell in, but there was no connection, but with the Ramakrishna-Vivekananda Center in New York, which published a good number of things. It was run for a while, possibly for a good while, again, I don't know the history, by Swami Nikhilananda, and he translated an awful lot of works. And I've said multiple times on this channel that I tend to be very loyal to writers that I come across, that I take an affinity toward. So if I like one book by one author, I will go back and get other books by that author. I don't know that it's been a completist urge in most cases, but I will certainly continue seeking out other things done by said author, or in the case of Nikhilananda, said translator. And so I have the utmost respect and esteem for the work that he did. And I do have other books by him. That will not be the whole of what I'm going to show you. I should show you the Bhagavad Gita, which I use. It's, I haven't looked at this stuff. My feeling is that books serve a purpose, possibly at a specific time in your life, and it is utterly reasonable to grow beyond them. I actually since getting this, am contemplating, should I go back? It has been 35, if not 40 years since I've really spent a lot of time with this. Of course, I've returned to this one more than most of the others. But there's a nice preface, and he recounts the story of the Mahabharata, which is a real long work. I think it exists in like 20 volumes. I doubt that I will ever read it. I doubt that I will ever see it. Had a set fallen into my lap as a young man, I would have put it there on the shelf and gazed gawkingly at it. But being a poor reader, I'm sure I would never have read it. Regardless, with some of these works, you don't have to go comprehensive. As with poetry, sometimes a section, a passage, some lines can be the thing that you need, and it opens something up for you. But so he does recount the whole story, and then the book is broken up with all kinds of notes or commentary on the text. The Ramakrishna-Vivekananda Center also does, or did, I don't know how things stand now, I would suppose they do, did publish a little devotional version of the Gita, which looked a little bit like this. Honestly, it was a little red book, very small, a little thicker than this. And I used to buy up copies of those to gift. Or, I mean, in the old days, we would say to give to people. Now we would say to gift to people. I'm not quite sure how that change happened, but I would give them to people. And I regret that I no longer have my last copy of it, because I would actually like to sit down and read it sometimes without all the interpositions of Nikhilananda, because many of them are not really all that germane to a lay reader such as myself. But regardless, this was the version of the Bhagavad Gita, and actually I picked it up at the Chicago Public Library initially. It was then it was in a building that has become the cultural center. The library used to have things, and you could browse the stacks and come across gems like this. And of course, I looked up the publisher, and there began something of a relationship. I even had, they sold little photographs of different figures in the religion. And they also were a good source for incense from India. And I was into all of that for a number of years in my youth. But the other major work that I got from them was the Upanishads. And they presented in the major Upanishads, a set of 4 lovely editions. So I'll show them one by one. So what is this? Oh, they don't tell you on the cover what's in there. Well, then you don't need to see them. I thought maybe they would tell you which ones are in there. And I read all of them. It's the kind of thing that probably I really should go back to at this point in time and just try to revisit some of this. I'm really thinking about it, but I don't know. It's been a long time since I read this, and it just so happens one day I came across a Harper Torch book edition of all of those just in one, without all of the notes, because that 4-volume set again has copious notes, introductions, and so forth. All worthwhile, I suppose, but the notes, again, for a lay reader such as myself, are not strictly necessary. And were I to go back, I might actually just pick this up and give it a read through and only dip into the big volumes as necessary, perhaps. But they are very important books to me. And I have other translations of the Bhagavad Gita and of the Upanishads that I've come across here and there. And I didn't bother pulling that stuff and other sort of tangential stuff like autobiography of a yogi. He had a enlightening experience in Chicago, I think in 93, when the Parliament of Religions was held, just from seeing a poster of Swami Vivekananda. So, there was that that guru. I think it was the one that the Beatles fell into, and his stuff used to be all around. I used to have some of his stuff. I got rid of it. He was not a favorite of mine. But Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, and Nikhilananda have been very important to me. So next, I should show the big books. There is the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and it tells his story. So originally recorded in Bengali in 5 volumes by M., a disciple of the master. Complete translation with an introduction by Swami Nikhilananda, with 26 authentic photographs. And some of these were the ones that you could order. So I have a separate print of this, but it's all filed away now. That whole little shrine area that I had got broken down. Now there's Ramakrishna with his wife, the Holy Mother, as they called her. And I wonder if they put any... oh, look at that. Look at that. I mean, there he is. Look at that. I mean, I have not looked at this stuff for so long. Oh, yeah. I mean, look at that. So it's been forever since I read this. It really is, again, probably worth looking at a second time. And the companion volume is Works Written by Vivekananda. So here's this. He has 4 different books about the different yogas. And, oh, what is this? Ameritech set to make a pitch for a second area code, and Brady's aim unwavering. Well, so when is this from? September 11, 1995. Yeah, so that probably indicates when I was looking at this stuff. Oh, and this is obviously what I clipped it for. So I loved Vivekananda. No, I don't see that they've put any photos in here. So oh, wait. Oh, yes, there is. Yes, there is. Yeah, here we go. Here he is. Oh, I should get my finger out of the frame. And one more. I think there's a few more in here somewhere. And I don't know which was the one that I had up on my wall. I don't think it was either of those. Oh yeah, I mean this is famous, I think. Look at that. And again, it's just a marvelous introduction to Hinduism, if that sort of thing piques your curiosity. So then the other books that came from the Ramakrishna-Vivekananda Center, some of them came from India, but and I've read them all, but I think for the most part they never hit me the same way. So I have self-knowledge, Man in Search of Immortality. This and I consider it sort of a companion book to Hinduism, Its Meaning for the Liberation of the Spirit. This was printed here. This was printed in India. I regretted that I didn't have a nice hardbound copy of this, but I loved both of these books, and I should try to get back to them. All of this, I should, maybe this is my year for reading Chinese history. Maybe next year I should consider India. And I've hardly read any history of India at all. And then you've got the Uddhava Gita, and I liked this one, and I think this one, the Srimad Bhagavatam, I think I really liked this one, but I don't remember this stuff anymore. And this was also very important. This was about the Holy Mother, and I bet there's pictures in here too. No, I guess not. Well, it's a cheap edition. A very nice book, though. Now, why do I have a little note here? On the day previous to my initiation, I said to the Holy Mother, "Mother, I want to be initiated." Mother said, "Have you not been initiated?" I answered in the negative. "I thought that you had been initiated," she said. After initiating me, she blessed me, saying, "May your body and mind become pure by repeating the name of God." And it goes on. There's little dialogues and that kind of thing. These others, I don't have much recollection of. I guess even back then I would just sort of buy things blindly out of curiosity. And this one I picked up somewhere else, but it's the poems or songs of Sankara. I thought I had one by, could this be that one? I am not sure. I thought I had it by Nikhilananda, but I came across this somewhere and I kind of group it together, and I believe I read it whenever it was that I found it. And then the other things that I will show I have not read, and recently I found out not the Mahabharata, but the Ramayana, a shorter poem, exists now in a complete translation, and I picked it up because this is on my to-do list, my TBR, to be read list. I believe it's probably a decent translation done by Princeton, I think. And so it's sits on my shelf beckoning. And then the last thing that I will show you, maybe somebody can tell me what it is. I have no idea. I came across these somewhere, and they're beautiful volumes. But I just don't know what the contents are from. I mean, well, this one says the Vedas, which of course you have to be a little bit more specific. So here's what it contains: the Rig Veda, Yajurveda, what is it, Samaveda, and Atharva Veda. I don't think that I've read any of those separately. And then you've got the Puranas, 3 volumes here. And I have no idea what these are. I picked them up and just threw them with my beloved Hindu books and haven't looked at them. So the Brahma Purana, the Padma Purana, the Vishnu Purana, the Shiva Purana, the Bhagavata Purana, and the Narada Purana. I mean, I could probably just go to Wikipedia and find out what these are. A good householder does not leave his house before bowing to a religious object, a flower, a jewel, clarified butter, or a respected person. When he travels at night or goes to a forest, he carries a stick in his hand. He always wears sandals and uses an umbrella when it rains or when the sun is out. He is a friend to all beings. He always tells the truth, but when the truth harms other people, he keeps quiet. So that sounds like a bit of wisdom. This says DK Publishers, and I don't know anything about the provenance behind these texts. I mean, who is the translator and so forth. But the translation seems pretty good to me from what I can tell. So I'm not really sure if I should read this, make a point of trying to schedule some of this or not. I've left that period of my life behind, but I would like to revisit parts of it. I'm just unsure. My course is winding down, so to speak, but I have the beautiful books, and one of the reasons that I have been trying to improve my reading ability is to allow myself to become more familiar with the items in my backlog. That is to say, books that I've picked up along the way that I was never able to touch. So I showed you a good number of books. I highly recommend anything with Swami Nikhilananda's name on it. If he translated it, I think it's probably a good bet. He's not a cultural figure that you can find out that much about. I bet Wikipedia has stuff now. I mean, it's been a while since I was trying to find out about him. So I will leave that here. And so this is all thanks to this little happening. I was just curious to find out what it was about, and I'm very pleased to have it. So who knows, maybe this will kick off a whole new phase in my reading journey. Thank you very much for stopping by my channel.